This is the Basement Vagrants podcast.
What kind of a wiener name is that?
With Wrecker.
All these morons getting dumber or just louder.
Bubs.
I'm a big four-eyed lame-o, and I wear the same stupid sweater every day
And Schweitzer.
Nerd!
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Hey everybody, it's the Basement Vagrants podcast, episode 120. I can't believe we made it this far in only a scant, 7 years?
8.5.
8.5. I am your host, Wrecker. We've got a review coming today of a new movie that's in theaters, or at least was until very recently. How about that? The Northman, the new film directed by one of my favorite filmmakers of recent years, Robert Eggers, and we're going to review it coming up shortly with me and the man to my right, Mr. Bubs.
Go north to Iceland and freeze your nuts off.
And in Calgary, joining us as always is Andrew Schweitzer.
They're calling for rain for the next 10 days.
Oh, very nice. Well, we're going to be boiling our asses off in 36-degree heat here tomorrow, so.
Lucky dogs.
Yeah. Before we get into our review, I've got a few things I wouldn't mind talking about, if it's okay with you guys.
Sure.
A couple news-related items. I was just looking through the movie news today, and a couple things that stood out to me. You guys are familiar with the horror movie franchise Halloween?
I am.
I think I've heard of it, yeah.
Chucky, right?
Yeah, it's the guy with the hockey mask. He hangs out at camp. And
No. That's you got it all mixed up. Halloween's the one with the guy who's got all those pins in his face, Needle Face, whatever his name is. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and he has a chainsaw, and he hangs out in Texas.
Alabama.
With his pet shark.
Anyway, so the last Halloween movie came out, I think last year, and I don't know if it made money or not, but I think it was fair to say that among fans it was quite a flop. A lot of people seem to dislike it. Well, the next one's coming out in October, and they're taking the route of Jason Goes to Hell the final Friday, and they're calling it Halloween Ends. But we know it's not going to end.
Until the next one.
Yes. Because unfortunately, Jason Blum has come out and he said that he's clarified that this is probably not the end of the series. And he said this quote, which I think kind of threatening. I didn't say it's going to be the last Halloween movie. It's our last Halloween movie. We have no more rights to make any more Halloween. So it goes back to Malik Akkad, who I guess that's who they bought the rights from. And what he does, only he knows, but we are done. So this is our last one. So it's the last Blumhouse, Jason Blum produced Halloween movie. So I'm guessing the rights will revert to somebody else afterwards, and then we'll probably get another reboot, I'm sure. But my question is, and I know the answer is nothing, but what do you do with this franchise at this point?
You should leave it alone.
I think if you got to go somewhere with it, go back to the 4, 5, and 6 arc with Jamie Lloyd.
Oh, okay.
Why not?
But Halloween is such a simple franchise. Like, it's just a masked killer who's, killing people and occasionally his sister. Mm-hmm. And there's really not a lot to it. I mean, they tried to get more complicated with 4, 5, and 6 with the whole possession thorn cult thing. Like, I never watched those movies, but I kind of know generally what they're about.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then I never watched any of the 2000s ones with Halloween
Zombie
and an H2O and whatever. But isn't it just the same thing every movie?
More or less.
Pretty much.
I mean, the basic setup and the arc is different, but then after about 20 minutes, it becomes just a slasher film again.
And I will say I was never a huge fan of slasher movies. Like, I've watched all the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play and stuff, and they're kind of fun for what they are, but when you got, at least with Nightmare on Elm Street, you had more outlandish kind of supernatural plots. You had the dream sequences were always kind of unique and fun, and they were visually interesting and visually unique, but like when you got Halloween or Friday the 13th, they're just all kind of the same.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons I never watched the last one. Like, we're just going down the same road we've been down 10, 12 times. At least with the Saw movies, there was creative kills. The Final Destination movies were fun.
Yeah.
Those are like spectacle moves. People call them torture porn, and I guess they are, but I don't call them, but I kind of think of them as spectacle kill movies. Yeah. Where you you watch Saw or Final Destination, and I hate all the Saw movies, but you watch them to see, I wonder how they're going to figure out new ways to kill people. Yes. And in that aspect, I guess they're unique.
They're not boring, at least.
Well, I think they're boring, but I get what you mean. But with Halloween, it's just Michael stabs a guy, or stabs him with a new implement, or stabs them in a different part of their body.
Or they decide to do a 3D one and the spear comes right at you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Haven't seen that before.
I'm sure there's going to be more. There's going to be another, I'm sure it'll be a remake or a soft reboot. Maybe Michael Myers has a son and he becomes the new Michael Myers, but it's just a reboot of the first movie. Who knows?
They'll do a sequel to Season of the Witch.
Why not?
There you go.
I'm not I know Season of the Witch has like its own little cult following. I don't like Season of the Witch that much, but at least it's kind of interesting.
It's different.
It's different. This is something that I was surprised to see. John Woo, you guys remember John Woo?
Woo!
Yeah. He's Ric Flair's favorite filmmaker. He's making a new action movie. It's going to be a silent movie, or at least no dialogue movie, called Silent Night. Interestingly enough, this is the only thing that I found interesting about it is that this is going to be John Woo's first American movie since 2003. Can you remember what his last American movie was in 2003?
Bulletproof Monk?
Crouching Tiger, or is that Ang Lee?
That's Ang Lee.
Oh.
I don't think that was Ang Lee.
I don't know who.
Yeah. Crouching Tiger was Ang Lee.
Was it? No.
I'm 99% certain.
Okay. No, I'll give you a hint. It was Ben Affleck movie.
Geely?
No.
No, was it called, like, Reindeer Games?
No.
That is a Ben Affleck movie.
Yes, it is. No. It was called Paycheck.
Oh, remember? That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with Uma Thurman.
John Woo movie. Yeah, so, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. It's his first movie American movie. He's made some movies in China, Japan. I'm outing myself as a racist, but I can't remember if it's Chinese or Japanese.
Dirty knees, look at these.
So yeah, interesting. A completely dialogue-less action movie. I guess that could be interesting. It has really good music and sound design, but I don't know. It seems a little experimental, but this is from the man who bought us Face Off, the most experimental action movie of all time.
Yeah.
So is it just going to be him walking around and killing people, or?
I don't know. It's filming right now, so there's not a lot of info about it. I was going to say that we've already had a movie with no dialogue, an action movie with no dialogue. It's called Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Oh, never saw that.
No, it's a joke. There was dialogue, but said like 2 words in that movie.
What if you combined
Drive.
John Wick and A Quiet Place?
Oh. So John Wick has to kill people
silently. Silent but deadly.
There you go. Start writing that screenplay.
I know we're all fans of Mad Max Fury Road, and I wanted to bring this up to you guys because I'm not sure how to feel about it, but there's a prequel guest, Mad Max Fury Road, that's in the works right now, called Furiosa.
Yes.
Showing the backstory of Charlize Theron's character.
I think I had heard about that earlier, but, I haven't heard much since.
Who's making it?
George Miller, who made all the Mad Max movies.
Okay.
So that's promising.
That is promising.
He's like 80
retiring because he was old as
Yeah,
shit.
he's like 81 years old or something, but
Oh my god.
I mean, nothing stops that guy.
Good.
I don't know, because on one hand, I really like Mad Max Fury Road, and if it's directed and written by George Miller, I got some faith in it, and I guess I liked the Furiosa character, but I don't really care about her backstory. That's the thing. I don't know why it has to be a prequel. Why do we need to know how Furiosa got to be who she was in Fury Road? Doesn't matter.
I guess it doesn't matter, but if you just make it a good, solid action movie, not delve too deep into little nuggets, like how did Han Solo get his dice?
Yeah.
It just...
Well, we're gonna learn how Furiosa lost her arm, I'm sure.
Okay.
But she's got a prosthetic arm in the movie, so that'll be part of it. Maybe we'll see her meet a Morton Joe, although I think the actor who played a Morton Joe is dead now. I may be wrong about that, but I mean, guy wears a mask, so it could be anybody.
Do we get to see Fire Guitar Guy again? Maybe he takes lessons or something?
We'll see a young kid in the background with a little acoustic guitar that just shoots little tiny spurts of fire.
He's watching Gene Simmons videos.
Yeah. If it's directed by the people who made Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah.
If Ron Howard directs the movie and it's written by the fucking not Russo brothers. I can't remember.
Miller Brothers?
Lord and Miller.
Yeah,
They're
Miller.
They're just a directing team. That's what.
If you have a good action story and the actual origin stuff is maybe a small part of it, a little blurb here, and we just meet up with her in a story on the way to Fury Road, it could be good.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on it too much. It automatically makes me feel cynical when it's a prequel to a character, and it's like, oh, just make a new movie with
I'm
new
not
characters.
a fan of prequels in general. How many of them have actually been good?
Phantom Menace, obviously.
Yes. Now,
yeah.
what is this movie making?
Exorcist: The Beginning.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery.
Oh,
of course. Well, that's technically an alternate universe, right? I don't know. Oh, maybe we should mention that I've made a pledge to never ever talk about New Trek again.
Okay.
Because I got to this point, I think addicts call it bottom of the barrel or the lowest low, where I was just constantly texting Schweitzer talking about fucking Star Trek Picard and how much I hate everything. And I finally decided I'm not talking about it anymore. I'm not watching any more Picard. You couldn't pay me to watch it. Even if it's just casually mentioning stuff, I'm not talking about new worlds or any of this new stuff. Whatever. I don't care. It just makes me mad. And if I start talking about it, Schweitzer and I have a code word or a safe word, which is Roddenberry. So if I ever go off on a tangent about how terrible New Trek is, just say Roddenberry and I'll stop.
You'll have to put on the Klingon gimp mask if you do. Can we put the same edict on Star Wars?
If you want.
Yeah, because Star Wars.
I have no desire to watch Kenobi.
You did watch Kenobi?
No, I have no desire to watch Kenobi.
Oh, racist.
Well, I am half German.
You want Kenobi Black Man?
I don't know. I think one of the characters is, and people are saying if you don't like it, you're racist. So I don't know. I don't care.
I understand. So yeah, no more New Trek discussion on this show.
Yay!
Not even to shit on it. I was going to say, the last thing I was going to say about the Furiosa movie, Furiosa is going to be played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who was the girl in The Northman and The Witch.
Okay.
She was also in that Netflix show Queen's Gambit.
She's good. I like her.
Yeah, so my only thing is, and I'm not saying this is a negative, but she's got this almost otherworldly kind of beauty to her, you know what I mean? Like she's very attractive, but in a striking kind of way. And in that movie, Charlize Theron went full monster and just looked like her head was shaved.
Because I've seen Charlize Theron look really good, and then you see her in Monster, it's like, whoa.
I know.
Yeah.
I think Anya Taylor-Joy is on a whole different level than
Don't think
Shirley
she can
Theron.
do it?
I'm not saying she can't do it. I just hope, I hope they don't try to glamorize her too much.
Yeah.
What I'm going to say is, it's going to be hard to make her look like she's basically a homeless woman in the new apocalypse, because she's so strikingly gorgeous.
It reminds me of Carrie when they remade it, and you had Chloe Grace Moretz.
Yes.
She's too pretty for that role. Sissy Spacek was perfect in the original.
Or like another example, that Terminator Genesis, how Kyle Reese, I can't remember who played him, but I just thought he's way too buff. Like, this is supposed to be an apocalyptic future where there's barely any food. Where the hell are you getting this 10,000 calorie diet to have abs like that?
Gyms and GNC stores. Whole Foods left it alone.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, you see, the Resistance was headquartered in Connecticut, right near Titan Towers. The steroid supply.
Well, plus Vince
underground.
McMahon is an android, so
That's true.
Makes sense.
So speaking of wrestling, this is a good transition. Did you know that there is a Hulk Hogan biopic being made?
I heard rumors about it a while ago. Isn't it Thor playing him?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth is going to be playing Hulk Hogan, and it's going to be directed by Todd Phillips, who directed Joker and the Hangover movies or whatever. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting, a Hulk Hogan biopic. My question is...
Vince McMahon.
Well, that's what I'm most interested in, is to see just who plays all these big wrestling names. Like, how are they going to play Andre the Giant? Maybe the guy from Game of Thrones, the Mountain.
I think they
who was also in the Northman.
Somebody's playing him in Young Rock right now. Maybe just him?
Maybe. I don't know. I've heard of that, but I don't know anything about it.
I've watched one episode. It wasn't for me, but...
My question is, is this going to be like a tug job for Hulk Hogan about the rise of Hulkamania, how great he was, or are they going to show him fucking people over behind the scenes and, screwing over Macho Man and being an asshole and trying to get people fired and all the shitty things that Hulk Hogan did?
That'd make for a much more interesting movie.
It would, but is Hulk Hogan, is he consulting on this? Is he involved in any way? Because he's not going to want that portrayed.
No,
exactly.
I've heard nothing about the actual making of this. Is it going to be like, how important was Hulk Hogan to Americana in the 80s, or the entire dark side of it?
If they show like the actual story of how terrible he was to people, and with the good stuff too, you can't just say Hulk Hogan was horrible and full stop. Like. Mm-hmm. He kind of made wrestling. I mean, between him and the WWE, wrestling wouldn't be what it was today if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan and the WWE.
And he inspired a lot of people. A lot of very positive stuff. He did the Make-A-Wish thing. There was a lot of good.
Made a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah.
But, they don't call him Cunt Hogan for a reason.
I guess like any biopic, like the Freddie Mercury one, the Elton John one, you show the good and the bad and balance it out.
Yeah, it kind of like the Straight Outta Compton one. It's kind of like they showed Dr. Dre did get arrested for drunk driving. They showed how they were having these big orgies in the hotel room and then chasing people through the hotel with guns. It's like. Mm-hmm. But then you had some people who said you never showed those scenes where Dr. Dre was beating up a woman either.
True. So yeah, if it's even-handed like that, like Straight Outta Compton was, where you could see both sides of it, I would be very much interested in this. Although when it comes to biopics, I would almost always take a good documentary over a biopic.
Me too.
They're just generally more interesting and truthful, but it could be interesting.
You've heard of the Weird Al one coming out too,
yes.
Right? Daniel Radcliffe's playing
Yeah.
him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Is there a lot of story to tell about Weird Al's career?
I think there is, actually, because he seems like looking back at it, you would think, okay, this guy just does parodies of other people's music and puts a comedic twist on it. That's funny. Most of his songs are all about food. I mean, how much can you tell? But the thing is, his career has lasted so long. I mean, like, the fact that, like, you can watch his, music videos on YouTube and they have hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah, but my point is, Weird Al, from what I know of him, he's obviously a successful musician. Everyone likes him. Nobody has a bad thing to say about Weird Al. He's nice. He's funny. He's never had any kind of scandal or anything.
I think they're going to show you the stuff that we don't know about him, like a good biopic does. The stuff he went through, maybe some of his depression struggles, his personal life that never gets talked about.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe there's something there. I have no idea about it. So maybe there's stories.
I know he went through a pretty bad depression after UHF come out, because that didn't do well. The album before it didn't do well, and then he kind of went into a bit of a dark time before Nirvana saved his career. His parents died of carbon monoxide poisoning in their home.
Yeah.
So there could probably be some stuff about him dealing with that. We know nothing of his personal life with regards to his wife or any of those relationships. So there's a whole avenue of stuff that the public is just not aware about that I think could be a good story.
It could be. Yeah, I could be interested. I like Weird Al a lot, so.
And even just watching Daniel Radcliffe doing some of the songs and the performances could be real interesting.
Could be fun. This is one quick thing that it shocked me to read this because it's about a movie, but it's also video game related, and it's about a video game character that was a big part of my life growing up. I don't know if you guys have heard about it before. Are you guys familiar with the video game character Duke Nukem?
Yep.
Yes.
There is apparently a Duke Nukem movie in development, which shocked me because Duke Nukem was popular in the 90s. The last game starring him was in 2011, and it was Duke Nukem Forever, a game which is considered by a lot of people to be one of the worst games ever made. And also, Duke Nukem, the whole concept of the character doesn't really fit in today's world of 2022. He's basically created as a parody of action movie characters. He looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. In the games, he straight up delivers lines from Predator, Army of Darkness. He quotes movie lines, and he's like an over-the-top action hero character. And one of the things, if you read any article written in the last 10 years about Duke Nukem, you'll hear them talk about how misogynistic the character is, because he was a parody of action movies and 90s culture, so he was like super edgy, and you know, in Duke Nukem 3, you could go up to strippers and give them money, and the games were full of like busty blonde bimbos, and you have to save them from aliens, and they go, "Oh, Duke, you have such a big gun," and it's like very over the top sexual and stuff. So why this? Why now?
They're gonna make a parody, a comedy, an attempt at a comedy, and it's probably going to be a fish out of water story where he gets thrown into our time and can't deal with it, and everybody reacts to his terrible ways.
Where he comes to the future and goes, "Where are the babes?" And someone goes,
Yeah.
"That's sexist."
Mhm.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Could be, and it could be funny if they're willing to poke fun at, you know, politically correct culture and how Duke Nukem is like a relic of, you know, the 90s where anything goes as long as it was edgy and had a dick joke in it.
And then the relic kinds of learns how to adapt to our time, but at the same time, he lightens up some people in our time, and they have to work together and save the world.
Remember Stuber?
Yes.
That's basically the plot of that movie.
Yeah.
I could go for that. That might be okay. I just thought it was very weird to see in 2022 a Duke Nukem movie is being made. It's like, oh my god, 12-year-old me would have crapped his pants.
Do you think the name itself is enough to draw people? Like, would they remember it?
Video game fans know who Duke Nukem is.
Okay. There'd be a lot of millennials in the audience.
Yeah, people my age and especially video game fans do, but general public, probably most don't.
Keep the budget modest. and it could do okay.
Who do you think should play Duke Nukem? Gotta be a bodybuilder or like a wrestler. Because Duke Nukem's pretty muscular.
Put John Cena in that role.
Cena?
Batista?
No.
Yeah, but it would be good.
Actually, yeah. Thinking about Batista would be because, like, you just need to give a sip. You just make it seem like, okay, Batista, just say the line. Don't put any real emotion into it. And it's like, there you go.
But it would work perfectly because he would give you a stone cold delivery where it's not intending to be funny, but his delivery makes it funny.
Yeah. I don't know if John Cena can do comedy. Like, I know you've seen that.
It sucked. That
Cockblockers movie?
Yeah.
Cockblockers.
Whatever.
Wasn't good.
But we know Batista is pretty good at comedy.
Yeah.
I liked Stuber quite a bit. He was good in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think he'd work perfectly for that role.
Yeah. I mean, John Cena has the look. Like, Duke Nukem, maybe it's because of the hair. He's got, like, the flat top kind of hair.
Mm-hmm.
So John Cena
Batista
looks more like him.
too old, though.
Duke Nukem in the games, I think, is supposed to be, like, in his early 40s, and he's not. Yeah, I think it would work.
Okay.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting. It's not on my list, but something you had just said reminded me of something I wanted to talk about. I don't remember. Is there anything going on that you guys want to mention?
So you know that Flash movie?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
It's probably never going to be released.
And why is that?
Because the star of the movie, Ezra Miller, has now been accused of kidnapping.
Oh my god. And they're trying to catch him, but he runs so fast they can't
exactly. Only enough people are saying they
joke yet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But he steps in the Amber Heard's poop and has to stop to wipe his feet, and that's how they get him. Yeah,
I read this story just briefly, like an hour ago in the waiting room at the doctor's office, and I think a lot of people did, but got the feeling that Ezra Miller's kind of not all there. He had that incident in, I think, Florida, where he, like, stalked some couple and went to their room with a knife or something like that.
Several incidents in Florida. He attacked somebody who was doing karaoke or did not want to do karaoke. It was the weirdest thing. And then he breaks into this couple's home, and he gets arrested. When he got arrested, he was literally dressed like Jack Nicholson's Joker from the Batman movie.
Okay.
It's kind of like, well, I'm playing the Flash. Nobody's going to expect me to be dressed like the Joker. The police will never find me.
They'll just recast him, I think.
But, like, the movie's already been shot.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, like, the thing is, this is a Flash movie, but they're talking more about how Michael Keaton is going to be playing the 89 Batman movie. It's almost kind of like their answer to the Multiverse of Madness movie. It's kind of like, well, the Flash is going to run to all these parallel universes. It's like, oh god, who gives a rat's ass?
Can't we just CGI him out like they did Superman's mustache?
You do like a digital face replacement. Yeah. Get someone in there to do it instead. Get, what's Chris Hemsworth's brother? Liam Hemsworth.
Right.
Get him in there, just put his digital face on. There you go.
Can
It'll cost them
DC
$50 million.
Can DC ever catch a break? I mean,
no.
These and their stars all being ridiculous.
Well, I think, oddly enough, the only one who's doing fine, Robert Pattinson.
I can honestly say I couldn't give a flying fuck about a Flash movie.
No.
Oh god, neither could I.
I haven't watched a DC movie since Justice League.
I didn't even watch that. Which was the last one about Batman, Superman?
No.
That was before Justice League.
That's the last one I watched, I think, though.
Oh, you haven't even seen the Batman?
No, I haven't seen the Batman.
No. But it's not in the same universe, though, right?
No, exactly. That's the thing. DC is just kind of saying, all right, fuck it, we'll just put out movies, who cares if they're connected? Like, did you hear the latest news about the Joker sequel?
Oh, no.
Well...
Wait, the Todd Phillips Joker?
Yeah, Todd Phillips Joker.
That doesn't need a sequel. The story's been told.
It apparently does. Lady Gaga will be playing Harley Quinn. And...
Joker. That would be interesting.
No, and it's going to be a musical.
Okay, I'm on board now.
ba 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 Batman, ba 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 Batman.
Honestly,
na.
if it's a musical, yeah, I'll watch it. I will. I'm not even joking. I will absolutely watch
I'm gonna punch Two-Face.
Yeah, but like we said, that Joker, I liked it a lot. There's no reason for a sequel.
Nope. Perfect way it was.
But if they're just gonna go crazy and make a musical, then sure. Is Joaquin Phoenix gonna be Joker again?
I imagine so. I mean, it would be very difficult to do a sequel to that movie without him.
Well, but it sounds like they're just going a completely different direction anyway. Like, they're making it a musical. Is this going to be like the musical sequences are in the Joker's head because he's crazy?
Who knows? Who knows? This news only came out yesterday. It's they're being very hush-hush about it, but yeah.
Well, that's weird.
I mean, they're trying something different.
Yeah, I mean, the most you can say is that, well, Marvel's never done a musical. And it's like,
Yet.
I'm into it. So I'm not kidding. I'm going to watch that. Do you guys want to talk about The Northman?
Sure.
Wait, did you watch it?
I did not, but I would love to hear you guys talk about it.
So, this is a movie that I might still be in theaters some places, but I think it's probably gone by now. I don't think it did too well. Troy, so you want to look up the box office mojo information for us?
For The Northman?
For The Northman, see how it did. I don't think it did very well in the theaters. It was pretty highly reviewed, but I don't think it made a lot of money.
I don't know how well it was marketed.
I've seen ads for it, like on YouTube and whatever.
Okay.
And of course it didn't have like the marketing campaign of like a Marvel movie or whatever, but I think they advertised it a bit. Directed by Robert Eggers, who directed The Witch and The Lighthouse, both of which I really, really liked.
I haven't seen The Lighthouse, but I love The Witch.
The Witch was really good. I gotta rewatch that. About kind of a very simple revenge story about the son of a Viking king, I guess, who is murdered, and then the son escapes and comes back. I had a hard time gauging the timeline of the movie, but it seemed like maybe 10, 12 years later or whatever to kind of seek his revenge against the man, his uncle, who murdered his father and then married his mother. Very simple revenge story. Bubs, how did you like The Northman?
I gotta admit, they almost lost me in the first 10 minutes of this movie.
Really?
The scene, I don't know if it was in the cave or when they climbed down the ladder there and met with the dude in the mask and he was getting him in touch with the inner wolf or whatever. And they're eating out of the dog bowl and they're like, oh, show me your wolf. And then the father belches and then the kid farts. I'm like, okay, is this a comedy? What's happening here? And then the weird dancing when he's older and he's with the one tribe and they're doing the weird caveman dance type thing, and that seemed a little cheesy to me. Like, oh man, they're pulling me out of this movie. But it soon turned around and redeemed itself. So overall, I really liked it. But those lost me. Those were the parts that were certainly least likely to appeal to most audiences. That's what a lot of people are saying about this movie, and I totally agree that this is his first mainstream movie. His first big budget movie. Like, I don't know what the budgets were for The Lighthouse and The Witch, but probably pretty small. This movie cost, I think, $90 million.
Yeah, I've got the numbers right here. The budget is between $70 and $90 million, and here we go. The domestic gross, $34,215,040. International, $34,219,000 for a grand total of $68 million worldwide.
Ouch.
That's a big old flopperoo, which is unfortunate. People are saying it's his most mainstream movie, and I definitely think that. Mike on Red Letter Media had a phrase, I think he described it perfectly. He called it Indie Braveheart, which I think is good, because I definitely think it has Braveheart vibes, but stuff like you mentioned, the more, I don't know if I want to call it cerebral or artsy, but the kind of interpretive stuff at the beginning, I guess could turn a lot of people off. I mean, my inner movie hipster wants to say, oh, that was the best part. That was so amazing, the symbolism of it. But I was like, yeah, it was okay. I understood what it was. They were...
Maybe you're missing. I liked the scene, and that was cool, and I did enjoy the symbolism and stuff but just the burping and farting took me out of it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
That didn't bother me
if you're trying
much.
to take this as a serious movie, and then we're making burp.
Well, Vikings
fart
probably
jokes.
burped and farted a lot.
They did.
And there was a father
that
and son having like a
supposed to be
jokey
a
bonding
serious
moment.
scene, I thought.
It's a biological function. Good God, don't shame people. Don't fart shame.
You're talking to a guy who is...
Oh, you cut a bad one at the fucking bonfire.
Burp and fart jokes. Like, there's a new Beavis and Butthead movie coming out.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
I'm right on it. But in the tone of this movie,
no.
A little bit. That's all.
I was going to say, it's probably the tone of the movie that, it just kind of throws you off a little bit. So I can understand where you're coming from in that regard. I just wanted to, fart shaming,
It didn't bother me much. That whole scene, I did think it was a little tedious. It went on a little long, and I got the point of it. It was, they didn't come flat out and say it, but I think it was like they were doing drugs essentially. Because I know one thing the Vikings used to do is they used to take like hallucinogenic mushrooms to get themselves ramped up for battle. And there's other battle scenes in the movie where they're like literally like screaming and foaming at the mouth and stuff. And I think that's kind of what that's supposed to be too.
Yeah.
So the Vikings were into like hallucinogens, like they're all fucking Joe Rogan or whatever.
Well, it seemed like a lot of that throughout the movie where you had the scene with the woman with no eyes and then the severed head that was talking.
I think it's supposed to be like half symbolism, half like hallucination. Although when he was talking to the no-eyed woman, I don't think he was on drugs then. That was just kind of symbolic. Yeah. I don't know if it was a dream or a vision or whatever. So there's a lot of that in the movie. It's not just straightforward. There's a lot of hallucination symbolism, like the last shot of the movie where he's riding off on the Valkyrie, that's stuff, which I don't mind. It comes off as a little bit, it's a little kind of indie movie stuff to me. It's a little bit artsy fartsy for lack of a better term, but it didn't pull me out of the movie at all.
I think it added to the myth of the Viking culture for me. Yeah. So I didn't really have a problem with any of that stuff. In fact, I think it added to it for me instead of just being a straight up realistic revenge flick.
I've heard people saying that, like I've seen headlines saying that like Viking historians are saying it's the most accurate representation of Vikings in movie history. So taking that in mind, like I don't know, I don't know anything about Vikings, but taking that in mind, I think that's pretty cool then if he was going for like strict realism as far as their like religion and their practices and their architecture and their behavior go. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some of the scenes of violence in the movie, some of the fight scenes, and like did that one scene where they're raiding that village and they're just like flat out raping women and killing children and like taking old people and cutting their heads off. Some of the most brutal violence I've seen in a movie in a while. But the thing I liked about it is it wasn't like glorified. It wasn't like look how badass these guys are. It wasn't, and it also wasn't look how morally reprehensible these guys are. It was like very matter of fact, like this is what these people did. They were horrible savages. It wasn't making moral judgments, which in 2022 I very much appreciate that the movie is not trying to tell us how we should feel morally about things. So I liked how matter of fact, and I think that made it more impactful. Just going flat out, these people like having like lines of women, and they're just taking them and just throwing them into cages, and a child tries to run away, and they throw a fucking axe in his back, and it's more shocking that it's presented so matter-of-factly.
And they didn't just try to present the protagonist as a good guy, morally just in his quest, because he wasn't.
Oh, certainly not.
He was right in the thick of the raping and pillaging.
He was
and
into
everything
it.
else. Yeah.
It wasn't like, I'm only being with these horrible people so that they can get me to my revenge, and I don't agree with what they're doing. No, he was right there murdering women and children. And even if you agree with his quest, like, I think you want him to seek revenge against his father because of what happened to him. But I don't think you're ever under the impression that this is a good person, especially since there's that scene near the end with Anya Taylor-Joy at the boat right before the climax where they're like sailing away and he's got some money and he's got her and they're going to go and she's pregnant. Sorry, spoilers. She's pregnant and they're going to sail away and like spend their life together somewhere. And at the last minute, like, and she's like crying and begging him, like, forget about this revenge mission. We have each other. We're going to have a child. Let's just build a life together. And he gets so close to doing it, and he's like, no, fuck it. He said, I don't remember the line he said, but he says something like, revenge has become my life. Like, it's consumed me. Like, that's all I am anymore. And he just jumps off the boat and swims away from the woman that he loves and his child because his revenge is so... It's just driving everything he does. And I didn't look at it as like, what a badass. It's like, this fucking poor, pathetic creature. You know what I mean?
I also looked at it like from the point where even if he was to flee and go away with her, because of how he knows of his thirst for revenge, he figured somebody would eventually come after him for revenge. Yeah. So I think he had to go make sure that wasn't going to go happen. Send her away, send her off on her own so he can go make sure that everybody's going to be safe. Doesn't matter about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That scene on the boat might be my favorite scene in the movie. Just because how it's totally emblematic of the character who's just the only thing he knows is revenge. And even at the end, and spoilers, he kills his uncle, he gets his revenge, but he dies as well. The last shot of him, it's like kind of like a lost shot where he's laying down and the shot's directly on his face. He almost looks like content and happy, even though like he's dying. He's never going to see his wife or child again. But he's so consumed with his lust for revenge, and he got it, and even though he's dying, he's content. Like, that was really powerful.
Was his fate, too. Like, that was a prophecy. He'd die at the gates of hell on the mountain of fire, so.
I just thought that was really powerful. I liked the ending quite a bit. I love that scene on the boat. I thought the performances were pretty good. Alexander Skarsgård, I can't remember. I've seen the movie like 2 weeks ago, so I can't remember their names anymore, but the main character, I thought he was good. His was fucking jacked as hell. Oh my god. Anya Taylor-Joy, I'm liking her. I've seen her in 3 or 4 things now. I think I've liked her in everything. Not only have I said, as I said, you know, she's incredibly beautiful, but I think she's a really, really great actress. She's great in this movie. She's kind of like a witch character. She can do some sort of elemental earth magic or something, but it's never really clear.
No.
And unless I'm forgetting something, I don't even think it's completely portrayed as real. You know what I mean? I mean, like, do you remember any instance in the movie where, like, actual supernatural magic stuff occurs?
Not really.
I don't think so either. So it's almost like she's like a shaman, but it's never, the movie never introduces an actual magic element.
She knew how to manipulate men's minds, but I mean, that could just be somebody who's a deep thinker or somebody who uses psychological warfare. Yeah. where in Viking times that'd be considered magic.
Yeah.
A smart woman.
Surely she's a witch. So I liked her a lot. I've heard people say, including on Red Letter Media, that Nicole Kidman took them out of the movie because she's such a big name and whatever, but I thought she was good in it. I didn't mind her at all.
I honestly didn't even realize it was her.
Didn't you see that was Nicole Kidman?
No.
Oh, wow.
I haven't seen her in years, so I really wasn't paying attention to who the actress was.
I saw her recently in a movie called The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is from 2017, I think. So it's a few years old now, but she has a nude scene in it.
Okay.
She looks fucking good for like, what, 56 or 55 or something? She's in her early to mid-50s anyway. She looks pretty fucking good still. But, the best plastic surgeons in Hollywood saw to that. But anyway, I liked her in it. I liked the guy who played the uncle. Willem Dafoe's cameo, he was the shaman in the cave. Yep. I think he was pretty fun because he's Willem Dafoe and you just look at him and you think he's insane. The visual quality of the movie, I didn't think it looked ugly, but this goes to back up the idea of the realism. There was no beautiful scenery. There was no great set pieces other than like the last fight where that took place. But most of the movie is like in this like ugly, barren fields and there's just mud and huts everywhere. So, and I'm not saying this is a complaint. It's actually, I think, is a good thing if you're looking for realism. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of focus on set pieces, doing things in beautiful locations. Like it takes place in like Iceland during, I don't know, what, the 400s or the 500s or whatever, and it's just mud huts and fucking grass.
There were some decent rolling hill shots and shots with the hot springs. But
my point is they didn't try to pretty it up.
No.
Which I appreciated.
Vast aerial shots of the landscape, like a Lord of the Rings type thing. It kind of reminded me of The Witch, the same way where
that takes place in the woods.
Basic woods set piece.
Yeah. Or The Lighthouse, which just takes place on like, an outcropping of rocks. It's not a very, I think that movie is beautiful because of, some of it's beautiful in an artistic way, but the locations are just very plain, which maybe went to help keep the budget down. It's $90 million, which isn't cheap by any means, but it's, for Hollywood studio production, it's not that much money.
Do you think they'll make that money back on a streaming deal? Or?
Maybe. They say in order for a movie to make its money back, it needs to make double its budget, which would mean $180 million. I think it'll get that much, but it'll certainly make some more money if a streaming service picks it up. I think it's coming to Amazon Prime, or it might be there already. They've got deep pockets. Anything else you want to say about the movie?
I don't know, not overly. I'm glad the plot didn't go where he has to recapture his kingdom and get the throne back for his family. Like, they
did
away with that really quick. Yeah.
It's very simple. Man wants revenge and gets it. The only thing that kind of bugged me about the movie is I don't like plot convenience in movies very much. And it seemed like a very huge plot convenience when the guy, Alexander Skarsgård's character, his plan is to get sold into slavery and then to be bought by his uncle, and he just happens to find a group of slaves, infiltrate them, and they just happen to be the slaves that are getting bought by his uncle. That happens in like the space of 10 minutes. Like, how did he know? Maybe it's in there and I missed it, but it seemed to be very convenient that he just happened to know the exact group of slaves that were bought by his uncle that lived, 5 days walk away.
Maybe there was a line in the prophecy we missed.
I don't know. Maybe one of the characters said, "Oh, this bunch of slaves is going to Alexander Skarsgård's uncle or something." I don't know, but that seemed like a little bit convenient to me. But yeah, not major complaints. So to sum up, I like the movie quite a bit. I don't like it as much as The Lighthouse, but maybe on par with The Witch. It's certainly his most accessible movie. Like, I would say, other than you see the scenes you mentioned, like early in the movie, like the whole shamanistic stuff and the hallucination stuff, I could see general audience being like, "What is this? I don't get it. This is stupid." But for the most part, I would say it would probably appeal to most audiences.
If you're looking for something that's not a superhero movie, sequel, reboot, watch it.
It's not a particularly fresh or unique plot. It's a pretty basic revenge story, but it's executed well with good performances, some pretty brutal violence, and I was never once bored during it. So I would totally recommend it. It's not the best movie I've seen this year, but pretty damn good.
I haven't seen a lot of movies this year, so
No.
might be.
Sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. Yeah, so I would recommend it. There's another movie I wanted to talk about. I think it's only on streaming right now. I saw it on a show. Have you guys heard of The Last Drive-In?
No.
I did hear something about that recently, and I kind of thought, oh wait, is this like a sequel to the Last Picture Show?
No, The Last Drive-In, it was originally on TBS in the 90s. It was like one of these horror host shows. It was hosted by a guy named Joe Bob Briggs. He was like a redneck who lived in a trailer park. And he would host horror movies, like Elvira or Vampira or Svengoolie, or there's a million of them. And the show was canceled. This isn't the movie, by the way. This is just preamble to what I want to talk about. He would host horror movies and do interstitial things between the breaks and talk about the movie in the background and the actors and whatnot. Typical stuff. And it was canceled, 2000 or something like that. They recently brought it back through Shudder, the horror streaming service. Same host and everything. And I've been really, really liking the show. I've been watching it. They show it every Friday. They do 2 movies a week. And I've been really loving the show because he shows a lot of movies I've never heard of, a lot of unique, it's all horror movies, they're mostly horror movies. And they're stuff I would probably never watch otherwise, or I would never have heard of otherwise. I love learning about the history of movies and the backstory between the making of movies and actors and actresses and stuff. So the movie you showed last week, or 2 weeks ago now, was called Hellbender. This is a movie, it's only on streaming. I looked it up, there's no physical release yet. It's actually made by, I'm going to pull it up, it was made by an actual family of filmmakers. They call themselves the Addams family, because their last name is Addams. It's a husband and wife and their 2 daughters, and they've been making movies together for, I think they've made 8 movies now. The mother is a theater actress, the father was a former model, and one of the daughters is a current model. And so I thought it was, right off the bat, interesting that these family just makes movies together, and it's pretty cool. And this is the first movie I've seen in a long, I don't want to say a long time, but in a while that I've really loved, and it actually scared me. And I'm not trying to be like this macho guy, but like, I've seen a fucking lot of horror movies. Horror movies don't scare me at all anymore. This movie got me pretty much on the edge of my seat. And during the climax, I was like literally leaning in with my hand over my mouth. I was pretty unnerved through it. So the movie is about a mother and a daughter, and their mother and daughter in real life as well. And they live out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, and the mother tells the daughter that she has this crazy immune disease, that she can't be around any other people or she'll get sick. But she quickly finds out that that's not true. They are actually things called Hellbenders, which are kind of like witches / demons. They can do spells that involve blood. If they eat living things, they kind of get a power rush off of that, and it allows them to cast spells and things. It's not really important. It's kind of a framework for a puberty / coming of age story. And eventually, I don't want to spoil it because I really love this movie and I think anyone should see it. Where the mother is trying to raise the daughter to be a good person. Like, they're not technically human. Like, they look human, but they're witches / demons or whatever. And she's trying to raise her to be a good person, but she kind of rebels against her mother and kind of goes out of control and wants to experiment with her powers and become more powerful, where her mother wants her to control it. That's kind of the basis of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, it's like a coming of age puberty story. with this horror framework, and I don't know, I really loved it. They filmed half of it during COVID, so they started the movie in late 2019 or early 2020, and then when COVID hit, they basically they said that they could either stop filming or make do with what they had. And since there's the four of them, four family members are in the movie, and there's only like 3 other actors in it, and they all have very minor parts, and most of it takes place in the woods. So they filmed most of the movie with, they said they had one camera, 2 mics, and a drone, and that's all they had. And they filmed like half of the movie with that in the woods. And normally when you hear, horror movie in the woods, it's going to be just, Friday the 13th schlock where just people running through trees and it's just boring. But they make such good use of every part of this movie. It's filmed in the woods of Utah or Montana. I can't remember, some kind of Midwest state. And they said they filmed in one area, but they managed to make each area look completely different. I was completely blown away at how resourceful they were, how they only filmed with very limited equipment and limited actors, but it never feels repetitive, it never feels boring, it never feels, we've seen this scene before. I was just shocked at how economical the movie was, and it made me think of like Hollywood movies with budgets of like $100 million who could literally go anywhere in the world and do anything, and their movies look bland and boring. This movie was probably shot for, less than $1 million easily, probably less than a couple $100,000, and it looks amazing. They have very limited special effects. Like they were on the last drive-in when they were doing this show, and they were talking about it, and they were saying they only had one other person helping them with the digital effects, and they were kind of learning them as they went along. And just through the use of like quick zooms, quick pans, shrinking, masking with light, they managed to pull off some special effects scenes that like made me gasp, like shock. Like there's a couple moments in the movie where the mother is having these like hallucination visions of her daughter, and you see like the daughter in the middle of the frame, and it's just completely white all around her, and then suddenly there's a super quick zoom out, like it zooms out for she's like 4 inches tall on the screen, or I guess to like half an inch tall on the screen, like 1 second, and that quick pullback like actually shocked me. Like it almost feels like a jump scare, but it's not, because it's not trying to scare you. It's just the quick movement of it. There's a scene at the end. I'm not going to spoil it because it's one of the most terrifying scenes I've ever seen. Not ever seen, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I've seen it in a long time. At the end, where the mother and daughter are confronting each other in this like underground cave where it's completely dark, 100% dark, and the mother has a lantern that she's holding up, and all you see are their faces illuminated with the lantern. Everything else is completely dark, and it's just a conversation they're having. Sounds boring when I'm explaining it, but they're just having a conversation back and forth where the camera's cutting between both of their faces, completely surrounded in darkness. And that's the moment where I was like, I had my hand over my mouth because I was shocked and scared, and the performances are so chilling, especially by the main girl, the daughter, Zelda Adams. She is so terrifying in a very cold and unsettling way in this movie that it almost feels like a jump scare where you're waiting for her to do something horribly quick and violent, but she never does. But every time she's on screen, you feel like she's going to do something, because you always feel this kind of like evil bubbling under her surface. Maybe it's hard to explain, but it's so subtle and easily done. Like I said, this scene that got me literally on the edge of my seat is 2 characters talking in darkness, and all you see is their faces illuminated. But because of the intensity of the performances, I was like unnerved by it. It's amazing. I don't know what else to say about it. other than this is a great example of doing a lot with a little. And like this actress, Zelda Adams, another thing I commend her for, she's the best part of the movie by far. Her performance is amazing. She's a model. Like, I'm a creep, so I looked up her Instagram while I was watching it. See? She's very beautiful in real life. Like, she's got she looks like a model. She's very tall, very thin, big pouty lips. But in this movie, she's like completely unglamorized. She's a teenage girl living out in the woods.
Right.
So she's just wearing like a tank top and shorts. She's got no makeup on. Her hair is like long and stringy. There's absolutely no attempt to glamorize her at all. Even in a scene where she's wearing a bathing suit, she doesn't look attractive. I mean, she's attractive because she's an attractive girl, but you know what I mean? They're not trying to pretty her up at all. And for a model, to do this, I thought was a really, really commendable choice. Kind of like what I was saying about the Northman, about how they didn't try to overly pretty things up and make things more beautiful. I appreciate that because it wouldn't fit with the story. Well, this completely fits with this character, and I thought she was great in it. I thought they were all great in it, but her in particular. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to gush about this movie. It's called Hellbender. It's on Shudder. I don't know if it's anywhere else. I'd love to know the budget of this movie. I don't know if it's been reported or not.
I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. But yeah, I would say this is the best movie I've seen all year. Well, I guess it's a 2021, technically not a 2022 movie. Or I guess not best movie I've seen this year, but the best movie from this year that I've seen.
Right.
Technically it's 2021, but I don't think it got a release other than like small movie festivals until this year. So this is my movie of the year so far. And like I said, if you're watching it, to watch it on the last drive-in where you get breaks from the movie, where you get to see interviews with the family and talking about the making of the movie, makes me it really enhanced the experience for me, and it reminds me of when DVDs were first starting to come around. Remember Steven Spielberg? He refused to do commentaries or behind the scenes stuff for his movies because he said it destroys the magic of filmmaking. He thought, like, he refused to do it for a long time because he considered it, ruining the magic, like you're breaking kayfabe.
I kind of agree with that.
Really?
I don't like watching behind the scenes stuff.
Oh.
I mean, opposite. This watching the family talk about the making of the movie made me appreciate the movie 100 times more. Like, when I watch a movie like this, I know nobody's getting killed. I know it's special effects. I know how they're doing it. Or, I know that they're doing, they're faking stuff. I don't see how learning how they did it makes you enjoy it less.
Takes the illusion away to me, maybe.
Really?
Oh, really?
Are you the kind of person who tends to get lost in story and fantasy?
I try to, yeah. That's why I don't like watching like tabloid stuff about actors because it ruins the movie for me. The Osbournes was the worst thing ever. I find that show the most offensive thing I've ever seen. Yeah? Because it totally ruined my image of Ozzy Osbourne. When I listen to a Black Sabbath song or an Ozzy song, I have a vision in my head of what he's like in that character, in that song. And seeing that fucking Osbourne show with him not being able to turn on a TV looking like a blithering Alzheimer's riddled idiot killed it. So that's why I stay away from behind the scenes stuff.
I can appreciate that.
I appreciate that point of view as well.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If you guys like it, it's cool. And I've seen a few behind the scenes stuff on some movies. That I've watched some of the Mad Max Fury Road stuff where I saw how some of the practical effects were done. It's okay, but I don't go out of my way to look for it.
I think that stuff makes me appreciate the movie more.
Well, you guys are movie fans. Like, you're fans of the whole aspect of a movie, the production, everything. I just want to watch a good movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So yeah, Hellbender, I cannot recommend it enough, especially if you like low budget indie horror. if you like, I don't know. I think if you watch it knowing what I said about how it was made, for how cheaply it was made by like this weird little family of models / filmmakers, it's a very unique movie. It's one of the most terrifying movies I've seen in a long time. I'm going to watch it again at some point soon. I could not recommend it enough. It's not often that I can be on the show and just completely gush about a movie. It's mostly talking about shit we hate. So that's what I wanted to talk about it on this show, just because I absolutely loved it.
Cool.
So have you seen anything recently you want to talk about?
Not really.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid not.
A lot of crappy wrestling.
Well, of course.
Oh, did you hear Jeff Hardy got arrested?
Ooh. Oh, Jeff Hardy. Yeah. Again.
For what? Drugs?
DUI.
Yeah, DUI.
How this guy even has a license still?
I thought he was clean. I guess not.
Yeah.
Well, maybe clean from hard drugs, but still drinks.
I don't know what he was on this time.
I've seen him on Instagram recently. He posted a picture with him and Matt and Chris Jericho, and they looked like they were all healthy and in good shape. But
just
maybe
another trip off the wagon. Or it could be just had a few beers and made a bad decision. I don't know.
I hope it's just that, because I always like looking at Jeff Hardy as the wrestling success story, battling addiction. And if you look at where he was in TNA in 2011, 2012 or whatever, compared to now, he's really turned his life around. I hope he doesn't go back down that path.
Pull the nose up, bud. Don't go down the sunny path.
Oh, jeez.
Killed somebody.
What?
Yeah, last lie that she was involved in.
I know she had a couple of DUIs. Wow. Oh, my God.
Yep.
She in jail?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Poor son.
And this was already when she was she was out on bail for something else. Like making terrorist threats or something to somebody.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She's not getting out for a while.
Poor Sonny.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Schweitzer, is there anything you wanted to discuss?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Aren't we great?
Yeah.
Better Call Saul, the new season. That's been pretty good.
Is all the episodes out now?
The first half of this season is all out.
Okay.
They just had the mid-season finale,
because I was planning on watching it and then I forgot until about 3 or 4 episodes released, and I thought, I'll just wait for the whole series to come out.
There's 7 right now.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Don't spoil anything, but is it
how far?
It good?
Have you even started the series?
Oh, I'm caught up until the new season.
Okay, yeah, really good.
Really good?
Mm-hmm. That's all I'll say.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess that's about it then. I've been watching a ton of movies, but I don't know, nothing I really want to talk about. It's difficult when it's stuff that you guys haven't seen.
Unless you want to talk baseball. I don't want to talk. They suck.
Started watching Star Trek Deep Space Nine again. I'm almost through the first season.
Nice. Something
I do every couple years. It's very, very rewatchable. I guess there's not much to say about it. As far as the bad episodes of season 1,
Alan Moraine, count to 4.
Alan Moraine, then 3 more. I've go in with an open mind, trying to find something to like in them. Obviously, the one that comes to mind is Move Along Home.
Yeah.
Which I think probably most Deep Space Nine fans would say is the worst episode. I tried to find something to like in it. I tried to like it. It's just bad. It's pointless. It's dumb. It's embarrassing. Like that hopscotch scene, I was having like secondhand embarrassment for the actors.
I don't know what the point of it was.
It's pointless. It's like I guess it's what they call a bottle episode because it doesn't impact anything else.
Well, no, that's not necessarily a bottle episode, but because either way, it doesn't matter. It's just a bad episode.
And it doesn't even make sense from like a technology point of view. Like, how did they have this game that transports people into the game, and why does it transport only Bashir, Kira, Jadzia, and Cisco? Where did they?
Also, like, how do they advance in the, like, I'm talking about like Quark. Quark's making the moves, but it's like, how does anything that he does affect the game? It's just kind of like, oh, now they're here. It's like,
his piece is like it's Monopoly, but the characters are also overcoming challenges. Like, that doesn't make sense.
And do they see the crew doing these things, or is it just the guy explaining to them that this piece does that?
Well, he doesn't even explain anything.
Right.
It's just we see the crew overcoming these really stupid obstacles, and then it cuts back to the bar where Quark is playing the game, and there's not like, okay, your pieces have now conquered the hopscotch trap. It's just two completely separate things. It makes no sense.
Yeah, like they complete the hopscotch scene, and then it cuts back to the promenade, and all these aliens are chanting, or like screaming, "Alan Marine!" It's kind of like, okay, so what exactly happened? Like, I don't. Why are you cheering? Why does Quark have no idea what's happening? It's
and
just
the stupidest part is these are like elite Starfleet officers.
Yes.
They're supposed to be really intelligent, especially Dax. She's supposed to be like amazingly intelligent.
So is Julian, apparently.
And Julian, he's genetically enhanced, right? If you mistake the pre-ganglionic fiber for the post-ganglionic nerve, he would have been valedictorian.
Yeah.
Anyway, they go to this hopscotch game, and they try to get past it, and they're like, and they hit the force field, and then Dax is like, maybe these tiles on the floor, the tiles that are clearly marked, maybe we have to follow those. And then Julian does it, and he can't get past. He's like, oh, but the song, we didn't sing the song. And it's like, this is the most obvious fucking shit ever, and it's taking them like 10 minutes to figure it out. It's embarrassing. They should have figured it out immediately.
They should have combined that game with Cube.
Cube? It kind of has a Cube kind of vibe, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and then Nicole DeVore was in Cube.
Exactly.
That's Esri.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's nothing to like about it. I gave it a 2. I'm going through and rating them all on IMDb as I go, which is fun.
Yeah, some of those early episodes you watch them and you go like, how did this show last 7 years? Good thing there was better storytelling to come.
I actually think that out of all the Trek shows of that era, like from TNG through to Enterprise, I think that DS9 has the strongest first season.
I agree.
If you watch it back. But originally, when I watched it, I did not like it.
I'm not going to list every rating I have for each episode, but my star ratings go 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 2, 7, 7, 8, 4, 9, 6, 6, 5, 10.
That's his password.
So if you notice, I have an average of these episodes of like 7.5. I think it's pretty good. I mean, arguably the best episode of the entire series in season 1.
To me, watching season 1 back, most of the time I'm just looking for breadcrumbs to the Dominion, the Prophets, everything else that's coming. But as standalone, there's a lot I just kind of bored with.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best season by any stretch, but I think it's quite good. The only other one I gave a low rating to was The Storyteller. You remember that one?
Yep.
Yes.
Not a great episode, not unwatchable, but
O'Brien had to tell a story to keep this cloud away or something. Yeah.
But another kind of pointless episode, and it's another one where like the technology of it doesn't make any sense. Like they never really explain what the creature is or how they banish it or whatever. It's kind of just a story about local traditions and superstition, but they use the Force explanation where, like in Star Wars, where they just blame everything on the Force. Where in this show, it's the orbs of the prophets. They're like, oh, they use the storyteller used the chunk of an orb of the prophets to conjure this demon or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, I guess they can do that.
I will say about
nothing.
I will say this about the storyteller. When I went back, like, probably just a few years after DS9 had ended and I was watching the show in syndication, I was surprised that, number one, like, Bashir and O'Brien, one of the great bromances of Star Trek, but it's like, even after this episode, like, O'Brien does not like Bashir. It's not like, oh, we're best friends now. Sorry?
Well, and to be fair, Bashir was kind of a fucking creep in season 1. He was
I don't think
annoying.
anybody liked him in the first season. Kara hated him too.
There are scenes where he's like really creepily hitting on Jadzia. Like, not even subtly about it. Like, he's a real creeper in, I think it's If Wishes Were Horses. I think that's the episode where all their, like, fantasies come
all
true.
their fantasies. And there's also the episode Dax where she's like, oh, you don't have to walk me back to my quarters. That's not necessary. And then he's at the table, not necessary, but not unwelcome.
Yeah. I think it's in If Wishes Were Horses where they're at the Replomat or Quarks, maybe, and he asks her if she wants another Ractigino, and she says, oh no, I'll be up all night, and he's like, oh, I can think of something else that'll keep you up all night. And it's like, oh, fucking hell.
He didn't go through Starfleet HR. He's the Me Too doctor, Dr. Rufy. What's in that Ractigino?
Played by special guest star Bill Cosby. You need to drink this if you want to be on the Defiant for the battle with the Dominion. No.
Have a glass of my special Canar. So anyway, yeah, so it's interesting to see the start of the characters, I guess. The only other episode that I gave a pretty bad rating to... Oh, no, I wanted to say a surprise. I remember liking this episode, but I think I might have liked it more on this rewatch than I ever before. I gave it a 9 out of 10. The episode Progress. That's the one where they're trying to evacuate the Bajoran moon in order to mine it, and there's an old man living in a cottage on it, and it's Kira's job to kind of get him off. It was this episode and Duet, obviously, but those two episodes that made me really, really start to appreciate Nana Visitor as an actress.
Yeah.
I think she may be my favorite actor in this entire show, because she's given a lot of heavy stuff to do. Like, well, especially in Duet, but also in this episode, there's lots of really, and I'm not going to mention New Trek, I promise, but really great classic Trek conversations where it's just two characters talking with well-written, meaningful dialogue, and it's just a simple back-and-forth conversation, but it's so good in this episode. She has to go through a range of emotions like anger, frustration, pity, love. Like, she ends up really having an affection for this old man at the end. They almost develop kind of like a father-daughter relationship, and that makes sense because I think Kira lost her father when she was like 10 or 11 or something like that. So he almost becomes like a surrogate father to her, and he's treating her like a daughter at a lot of points. Especially there's a scene where Sisko comes to his house and the old man answers the door and he wants to see Kira, and Kira like kind of comes by behind him in the background, like the little daughter standing behind her father as a stranger comes to the door, like that kind of imagery showing their relationship. I completely appreciate it in this one. Like I said, she goes through a range of emotions. She can, and we all know Kira can pull off fiery anger pretty well, but she's also a great crier. Also, as we've seen in the one where the Kai Opaka dies.
Yeah.
Her death scene, like the way Kira is like holding her and wailing, like she's fucking great in this show. I love her so much. And I never disliked Nana Visitor, but I don't think I really appreciated her performances as much as I do now. I think she's fantastic. This might be, well, I think maybe do it. No, I honestly, for her performance, I almost want to say this episode is better than Duet. Duet's a better episode for a lot of other reasons, and she's great in that episode too, but I think this might be one of her crowning achievements of the series. I love this episode. So yeah, I'm almost done at season 1. I'm going to keep going. Maybe in subsequent episodes I'll talk about it briefly. I mean, we've all seen DS9 a million times, so I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, but if I think of something or come to appreciate something more with this rewatch, I'll briefly talk about it. But yeah, Move Along Home still fucking sucks.
Yep.
Do you guys want to end the show with a little trivia?
Sure.
Okay, well, as we all know, it's Pride Month, and I'm sure we're all into celebrating Pride. So, and of course, during this month, all the big Hollywood stars and celebrities and studios are also celebrating Pride Month.
And every corporation that wants to market to people.
Right. So I thought I would...
Until July 1st, then it's back in the closet with you, queers.
Hey, queer is an acceptable term now. It's in the acronym.
It's in the alphabet.
So I thought we would honor Pride Month by talking about the very progressive company Disney.
Oh.
So I've got a quiz of 10 movies that had homosexual scenes cut out of them in foreign markets by Disney.
Yep.
Oh God, Song of the South won't be on this one. Well,
No, these are all pretty much recent.
You don't remember the slaves banging behind the bar?
There was no gay slaves in that.
Oh, Lord, it touched my bum. Get a hole and put my dick in it.
We can talk about that for Black History Month. This is
Okay.
Pride Month. Okay.
Right.
Maybe we should review that movie for Pride Month, or for Black History Month.
No, it's not the worst idea.
Let's do it.
It is a movie. We could point out the flaws. Is it really as bad as people say it is?
I've seen Song of the South. It's not as bad as people think it is. The point of the movie is white and black people getting along. And in the movie, the white people are the villains and the black people are the good guys.
Yeah.
It's not intentionally racist, but it is incredibly tone deaf.
Right.
It is a movie taking place just after slavery where, like, the black people are happy-go-lucky and everything's going great for them, and that's bad.
Right.
But the intention of the movie is good. I'll say that.
Maybe we should get to the quiz before we get canceled by the NAACP.
No one's listening to this.
Oh, that's true.
That'll be the one clip that gets out there. Gets us all fired from our jobs.
So if you know the answer, just shout it out, all right?
Sure.
Number one. One of the most publicized cuts Disney made to a film for the overseas market was a lesbian kiss in this Star Wars movie from 2019.
Rise of Skywalker.
That is correct. That was from Rise of Skywalker.
There was a lesbian kiss in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you lived in China, you couldn't see it.
Oh, well, I didn't watch the movie, so I
And the thing is, it's in the background, and it's only for 3 seconds between two characters who have no names.
Yeah.
lame. I thought it was like Ray and Rose Tico or
No,
something.
it was extras. But still, cut that out for the Chinese Communist Party.
Oh,
They don't
wow.
like that.
And those two lesbians got more screen time than Rose Tico in Rise of Skywalker.
I'm sure it's somebody's screensaver.
Yeah, probably. Number two, in this upcoming movie, so I don't think it's out yet, a spin-off of a Pixar series had a brief mention of the female character.
Lightyear? Or
That's
Buzz
correct,
Lightyear?
Bubs.
Yeah.
Had a brief mention of the female character being gay until an inside source said it was being cut. Number three, in a deleted scene from and Schweitzer, you might want to speak up because you're a little bit quiet.
Okay, I'll try.
I'm going to keep the Bubs when you deserve it. In a deleted scene from this movie, we can see a brief flirtation between the characters Okoye and Ayo.
Mulan?
No.
Turning Red?
Nope. Any guesses? The characters are Okoye and Ayo.
Moana?
Nope.
Shang-Chi?
Nope. I'll give you 5 more seconds.
I'm trying to think every foreign type movie.
Song
The
of the
answer
South?
is no.
Lilo and Stitch.
The answer is Black Panther.
Oh!
Though it's not been
racist.
what?
We're racist.
Though it's not been confirmed, Twitter addicts have been giving Disney the business for allegedly cutting out a minor hint towards a lesbian crush between two characters in this recent film about a girl who turns into a giant panda.
Turning Red.
That is correct. Turning Red. This character from the Thor films had a gay lover in pre-production.
Valkyrie?
That's correct, Bubs. Very good, Valkyrie. You never made it to the final cut.
What a shame.
This Disney live-action remake featured a prominent gay character, but you would hardly know it if you saw the movie in Malaysia.
Beauty and the Beast.
That is correct, Schweitzer. Very good.
They're fine with bestiality, though, I guess.
That's
San-
fine in Malaysia. That's
in
perfect.
San
As long as, it's not two same-sex man and beast having
Right.
Of course, you're good.
In San Francisco, the movie was titled Beauty and the Bottom.
Return of the Furry.
Number 6. In this oh, sorry, that was the last one. Number 7. A gay kiss between two men in this 2021 Marvel film was axed in Lebanon, Jordan, Ethiopia, Palestine, Syria, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates.
Was that Shang-Chi?
Nope.
The Eternals?
Eternals, correct, Schweitzer.
I cannot remember if that movie came out last year or early this year.
Came out.
It's the most forgettable. I've never seen it, but
I haven't seen any of those.
I always forget it exists. This 2020 Pixar animated movie about two elven brothers had a lesbian cop's dialogue changed from referencing her girlfriend to her partner in several of its overseas releases. Pixar movie about two elven brothers.
I can't even think of it.
Oh my, two elven brothers.
I'm sure you guys have never seen it.
No.
No. Oh God. No, pass.
Or Enchanto or something? No.
Nope.
Okay. No.
Yeah, pass.
2, 1. The correct answer is Onward.
Never heard of it.
No. Number 9. A simple line of dialogue hinting at an ancillary character going on a same-sex date was cut from this 2019 Marvel film in Russia.
Avengers Endgame.
That is correct. Endgame. And
Rear
the last
End Game.
Number 10. Disney has refused to edit out a reference to a main character's lesbian parents in this recent Marvel film, despite demands from the Saudi Arabian government.
Doctor Strange 2, whatever.
I'll give it to you. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So you see, Disney does care about LGBT representation. They refuse to edit one movie out of 10.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what?
At China.
They're so progressive.
Yeah.
So
When the fight's easy, they can be progressive.
So yeah, the Saudi government won't let the people see Doctor Strange 2 because there's one line of dialogue referring to a gay couple. So, at the end of that game, it was a short quiz. We got 5-3 for Schweitzer.
You're the top, I'm the bottom, sir.
As always.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so happy Pride, people. So that's it for this episode. I think it was a pretty good one. I got to gush about a movie that I liked for once, and I didn't mention,
that shall not be named.
That thing that shall not be named. You guys didn't watch anything, but, that's fine.
I watched the movie you asked me to watch.
I know.
Fair.
That's fine. I give you credit for that. It's more than Schweitzer did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm lazy.
Way to go, Schweitzer. Suddenly its connection's dead.
Oh.
Did Mike Tyson watch the movie?
Oh, no.
I try to watch the movie, but there's too many white people. Like, where's my Nubian queen? It's like, come on, this is why I should be in Black Panther. You understand? I tried to audition for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, but unfortunately, I improvised my lines. And they said that they cut my scenes. They said, "Oh, just to say, Captain, Mike Tyson of the USS Muhammad Ali." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." And so I improvised. I said, "This is Captain Iron Mike Tyson, HNIC of the USS Tupac Shakur."
I heard you getting in fights on airplanes now.
I was trying to watch the in-flight movie. I was trying to watch Encanto. This is a wonderful Disney movie, but unfortunately, this asshole, just kicking my feet, and it's like, excuse me, sir, I'm going to have to resort to physical violence if you keep interrupting this musical number. We don't talk about Bruno, but we also don't, annoy Mike Tyson.
What's your favorite Starfleet captain, Mike?
I have to.
That's why I'm hearing him say Cisco. I'm hearing him pronounce Cisco.
It's the one who looks like me. Yeah,
Captain Jane?
Representation matters.
Yeah. It's the one named after the Jedi Knight, Ben.
Just
All
say.
right, his name is Captain or Commander Benjamin Lafayette Cisco.
Yeah.
You see, I'm such a nerd. I've got such street cred and nerd cred that I know Cisco's middle name.
Anyway, that's don't know if there's anything on the horizon we're gonna see.
I'm
Bond
going to
movie.
be.
Sorry, Schweitzer?
I am going to be down in the Windsor, Essex area next month, so we could do I was going to say maybe we could do Tomorrow Never Dies.
Yeah, that sounds good.
There you go.
Pretty much what we did last time was we watched a Bond movie, but we can do that. How long are you going to be here for?
I'm only going to be here for a week, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that'll be good. We could do Tomorrow Never Dies. Okay, look forward to that next time.
Sweet.
Bye now.